The sea, a canvas of shifting moods, had always been Lyra's sanctuary. Not the gentle lapping of waves on a sandy shore, but the deep churning currents of the open ocean, where sunlight fractured into emerald shards and the silence was profound, broken only by the whispers of the deep. Lyra was a siren, though not of the kind whispered about in fearful tales by land-dwellers. Her scales, the color of a stormy sky, shimmered with an inner light, and her tail, powerful and swift, propelled her through the abyssal plains with effortless grace. Her voice, however, was her truest gift, a melody that could soothe the most tempestuous of storms or stir the very depths of a sailor's soul. For generations, the sirens of her clan had lived by a strict code. Their songs were to be used for guidance, for protection, for the preservation of the ocean's delicate balance. Never for malice. Never for manipulation. Their elders, ancient beings with eyes like polished obsidian, spoke of a time when a siren, consumed by bitterness, had used her song to lure ships to their doom, scarring the ocean floor with wrecks and earning their kind the fear and hatred of humanity. That siren, they said, had been stripped of her voice, her scales turned to dull stone, forever bound to the silent, dark trenches. Lyra, however, felt a growing restlessness within her. She honored the traditions, she understood the warnings, but a part of her yearned for something more. Her melodies, while beautiful and pure, felt constrained, like a caged bird longing to soar. She would often swim to the shallower waters, observing the human ships that passed overhead, their sails billowing like great white clouds, their wooden hulls groaning with the weight of their cargo. She heard their laughter, their shouts, their own crude, yet vibrant, songs carried on the wind. There was a wildness there, a freedom she envied. One evening, a storm of unprecedented fury descended upon the sea. The waves rose like mountains, crashing down with a roar that echoed through the very depths. Lyra, caught in the maelstrom, saw a small fishing vessel, its mast snapped, its crew desperately clinging to the wreckage. Instinctively, she began to sing, a powerful guiding melody meant to calm the waters, to steer the broken ship towards a distant, safe cove. But as she sang, something shifted within her. The melody, usually so controlled, began to swell, to twist, to take on a raw, untamed quality. It wasn't malicious, not truly, but it was more. It was the sound of the storm itself, of the ocean's primal power, channeled through her voice. The sailors, battered and terrified, heard it. They didn't understand the words, but the sheer force of the sound, the intoxicating blend of terror and awe it evoked, paralyzed them. They stared wide-eyed, as the broken vessel, instead of being gently guided, was pulled with an undeniable force towards a treacherous reef. Lyra, horrified, tried to rein in her song, to revert to the gentle guidance, but the untamed melody had a life of its own. It was a part of her, a part she hadn't known existed, and it was demanding to be heard. Just as the ship was about to splinter against the jagged rocks, a flash of silver light cut through the churning water. It was Alara, the oldest and wisest of her clan, her eyes blazing with a fierce protective light. Alara's voice, deep and resonant, joined Lyra's, not to silence her, but to harmonize with the untamed melody, to temper its wildness with ancient wisdom. Slowly, painstakingly, the combined songs began to shift the currents. The ship, though damaged, was pulled away from the reef, nudged towards the safety of the cove. When the storm finally abated, Lyra found herself facing Alara, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and exhilaration. I couldn't stop it, Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. It was like the ocean itself was singing through me. Alara's gaze was piercing, yet not unkind. You touched the primal song, Lyra, she said, her voice softer now. The song that lies dormant within all of us, the raw power of the sea. It is a dangerous song, child, if not understood, if not controlled. But it felt right, Lyra confessed, even as I feared it. It felt like me. Alara nodded slowly. The ancient siren who brought ruin upon us did not understand this. She sought to control the song with bitterness, with anger. But the primal song cannot be controlled by such emotions. It demands respect, understanding, and a pure heart. Over the following months, Alara took Lyra under her wing, not to suppress her untamed melody, but to help her understand it. They swam to the deepest parts of the ocean, where the pressure was immense and the light was a distant memory. There Alara taught Lyra to listen to the silent hum of the Earth's core, to the slow, deliberate dance of tectonic plates, to the ancient pulse of the ocean itself. She taught Lyra that the untamed melody wasn't a force to be feared, but a force to be integrated, to be understood as an extension of the sea's boundless energy. Lyra learned to channel the raw power of her voice, not through force, but through a deep connection to the ocean's rhythms. She learned to feel the subtle shifts in the currents, the whispers of distant storms, the silent migration of marine life. Her songs became richer, more complex, weaving together the guiding melodies of her ancestors with the untamed, primal song of the deep. She could still calm storms, but now her voice resonated with the storm's own power, a symphony of chaos and control. She could still guide ships, but now her melodies spoke of the ocean's vastness, its beauty, and its inherent dangers, urging respect rather than simply providing direction. Years passed, and Lyra became a revered figure among her clan. Her untamed melody, once a source of fear, was now a source of wonder. She taught the younger sirens not to fear the wildness within their own voices, but to understand it, to embrace it, to channel it with wisdom and compassion. The moon elves who had once feared the sirens, now spoke of Lyra with a newfound reverence, of the siren whose song could calm the wildest of seas and stir the deepest parts of their souls, not with malice, but with the profound untamed beauty of the ocean itself. The lore of the sirens had not been forgotten, but it had evolved, enriched by the untamed melody of Lyra, the siren who dared to sing the song of the sea, in all its raw, magnificent glory. Moral of the story. True strength and mastery lie not in suppressing the wild or untamed parts of ourselves, but in understanding, respecting, and learning to channel them with wisdom and a pure heart. When we integrate our raw power with compassion, we can achieve greatness and bring positive change, rather than destruction.